the fuck is up, everyone? Prison Meddler here, and back on part 2 on my ranking every Soulfly album. As you may know, this is part 2, guys, so don't get it confused. As you may know, for preparations for Soulfly's new album, if you haven't watched part 1, be sure to watch that first. Link is in the description, or else you're going to get confused and thinks about I'm skipping albums or such like that. This is part 2. That's because if you guys got confused to say that I skipped albums, that's because you didn't watch part 1. Link's in the description. But anyways, no need for reintroduction. Let's go ahead and continue where we left off. Alright, now we got is Prophecy. And before we get to that, this does not include their new album, because it's not out yet. But anyways, continuing on. Alright, starting up, we got is Prophecy. Released March 30th, 2004. Off of Roadrunner Records. Now, this is the album where kind of a lot of, lineup changes. I think this is their first album with Mark Rizzo, who was previously from El Nino. And it's got some different other musicians in this album. Like I pretty much said before, that I kind of consider Soulfly as Max Cavalera's solo project. It kind of is, but anyways, it's got, this album they've been working out with different musicians. Like, they got David Ellefson, who was from Megadeth, did bass on some of the songs, and then the other songs it has Bobby Burns from Premier 55. And I kind of say, I wouldn't say it's like a return to roots album, but it has a lot less new metal sound to it. Since this album focuses a lot more on this tribal influences, from what I'm reading, Max Cavalera kind of has some spiritual beliefs throughout with world music. As may shown, he's a lot more interested with that, starting with the album Roots, and he's been continuing to use that throughout Soulfly. And then, the track Moses, which features an explicit statement of his religious beliefs. He's been working with Serbian bands such as Iceburn, and has a lot of reggae influences, and many other tracks plus instrument like from Middle Ages, bagpipes, and Serbian gypsies. Now, with this album, I say it's a solid listen. Is this something I would like to hear from Max Cavalera? Probably not. And this is why I said Soulfly is my least favorite project from Max Cavalera, because it's those stuff that I kind of don't want to hear, with this overuse of tribal and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm not saying they're bad. Max Cavalera does what he wants to do, and I respect him for that. But all of this stuff is not my cup of tea, But it's got some really solid hits, like Prophecy, definitely a great track. Living Sacrifice, I believe is a great one. And the last few tracks kind of, edges off with this more of this reggae type tone to it. Now, I do respect what Max Cavalera is doing. I'm not saying, oh, this sucks, go back to thrash metal or stuff like that. I respect him for it. Like I said, I know I said this before, Soulfly is Max Cavalera's solo project. There's that. But otherwise, guys, the production's still good, it's still there. But with this record, it may not be the sound that I want it to be, but I can appreciate for what it is. So I'll go for a strong enthusiastic 3 out of 5, maybe leaning towards a 3.5. Mainly because the reason why it's a 3 out of 5 is mainly because it's not the sound I want it to be, and leaning towards a 3.5 is because it's very far from bad. It still sounds good and stuff like that. That's why it's a strong enthusiastic 3 out of 5. But anyways, it's a solid listen. If you like reggae and stuff and you're trying to lead into metal, this is a start. Alright, next up we got is Dark Ages, released October 4, 2005, off of Roadrunner Records once again. Now, I would have to say that this is Soulfly's darkest album. I did say that this was my favorite Soulfly album in the past, but not really anymore, but I still love it. I still like it. But yeah, I would have to say this is probably their darkest album yet, if not the darkest album that Max has ever wrote. Like, even darker than Sepultura's earlier stuff. Now, it's not just what the music or the sound is, it's basically mainly the lyrics. You know, as you may know, throughout, it basically mourns the death of Max Cavalera's infant grandson and also his close friend, Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. I forgot to mention Dana, who is Max's stepson, who also died, as you may know, on the song Tree of Pain from 3. I can't believe I forgot to mention that on part 1, but oh well. And there's some tracks like Corrosion Creeps, which is basically dedicated to Chuck Schuldiner from Death. I don't know if I said Corrosion Creeps right, but oh well. Feel the Hate is basically about the Trinity nuclear test, and it kind of, like, unlike their previous albums, the lyrics pretty much moved away from the spiritual themes, and it has a lot more violent and aggressive elements. Bleak is such a fucking dark song. It has basically about the ancient temples to capture echoes to include as common sound effects. Molotov is basically the first was in Russian, Portuguese, and English. And yeah, guys, it's definitely a very dark album. Like, Max has been going through a lot of shit throughout, especially losing your fucking grandson, who is an infant. Like, I can't even imagine that. But anyways, guys, I am feeling and it's got some, I forgot to mention, they added pretty much back to their old school roots from Sepultura. I would pretty much say this album is like a mix between Arise and Chaos AD. Like, it still bring back a lot more thrashier. It's like way thrashier than the first 4 Soulfly albums. Like, it's pretty much brought back to it. But they added some stuff on here too, like tracks like Riot Starter had some industrial elements to it. Frontlines definitely brought us back the Sepultura vibes. I definitely love this song. Arise Again kind of reminds me, even though I don't know sure if it's like a reference to Arise, but it sounds more like Chaos AD with a much more darker tone. But anyways, guys, we got a lot more albums to go. I don't want to drag the video on. I thought this is a great record. I don't think this is my favorite Soulfly album. We'll get to that later. I am feeling a very strong, enthusiastic 4 to 5. I thought this was a great record. Max has gone through a lot, and it's very well written. Alrighty, next up we got is Conquer, released July 23rd, 2008, off of Roadrunner Records once again. And this album is where they started to go back to their, when Max goes back to the older Sepultura roots even more. As we know, earlier that year, Max Cavalera released Cavalera Conspiracy's debut album, Inflicted, which was released earlier that year with his brother, Igor. Him and Igor finally reunited and formed Cavalera Conspiracy, after the two became estranged, after Max quit Sepultura, and got an unexpected phone call for him, made amends, and formed Cavalera Conspiracy. But as with this album, it kind of has the same similar tone to it. It's got some guest appearances, just like every Soulfly record. Blood, Fire, War, Hate. I would probably say that's probably my favorite Soulfly song. This song features David Vincent, who is from Morbid Angel. It's got some really thrashier tone to it. It's got more like a death metal approach, especially from David himself. It's just a fucking brutal track. Unleash is another great song, which features Dave Peters from Throwdown. The lyrics themselves is basically dark themes like war, Armageddon. Basically, like I said on the track, Warmageddon's another great track. Touch and Avoid has some really stoomy elements, basically from Black Sabbath's earlier stuff with this stoomy riffs to it. The tone of it is dark. And I also like the instrumental track, which is Soulfly 6, with this nice prog rock sound, 70s prog rock feel to it. And yeah, I definitely think it's this really solid record. I'm also feeling another strong enthusiastic 4 to 5. I thought this is another great record. Now, did I say it's my favorite? Because it's not. We'll get to that, I promise you. But yeah, guys, Conquer, really great album. I I honestly, Dark Ages is slightly better, mainly because of the dark themes and stuff, but this is a great album too. So I definitely love it. Alright, next up we got is Omen, released May 18th, 2010, off of Roadrunner Records. Once again, my opinion on this album has changed recently, and I actually like it now than I have years ago. I think back then I used to put it as their worst, but it's not anymore. Not even close to their worst. It continues off of this thrashy sound. It kind of has more like his hardcore punk element sound to it. The songs are a lot shorter. They lack the tribal elements. It's kind of like, it's a lot similar sound to like Cavalier Conspiracy a bit. They still have guest features. First off, Greg Puciato from the Dillinger Escape Plan did Rise of the Fallen, which is a great track. It's more like a groovy track, and that's the grooviest track on the album. And then the other one has Tommy Victor from Prong, which is another groovy track, but still it's a lot thrashier. I like how this album cover kind of has a Star Wars influence by it. And the lyrical content, throughout the album is mainly about violence, wars, murder, and the world, and uplift. Well, some few exceptions for tracks like Jeffrey Dahmer, it's basically about the serial killer, and Lethal Injection is about poisoning. I would probably say it's their most underrated record, too. It's a lot faster, probably their fastest record yet. Is it as good as the last two albums? No. It's not the perfect record, and I ain't complaining at all. My only criticism is the Soulfly 7 track, which is the closing track. I don't think that song should be on there. It doesn't fit the tone with it. I guess they put it on there because it's named Soulfly. If it's like a Cavalier Conspiracy album or any other Max side project, it would definitely not be on there. It's more simple, but it's a lot faster. So, I'll go for a enthusiastic 3.5 to 5. I thought this is a really good record, and if y'all don't like this record, give this another listen. I thought this is a pretty good record. Yeah. A very underrated album by Soulfly. Alright, next up we got is Enslaved. Released March 7th, 2012, off of Roadrunner Records. And yes, guys, this is the last album to be released under Roadrunner Records. Now, guys, this is where we come to the point where I'm going to say this right off the bat, that this is my favorite Soulfly album. I know, it's a hot take. I really love this record. Very underrated. What makes me mad is that this album had fucking mixed reviews, and I honestly don't understand why. I don't know, because of this heavier, darker direction they went in. Maybe the lyrics is about slavery. I don't know. Why does this have mixed reviews? I don't understand that at all. But yeah, also this band had a lineup change. This featured David Kiskell, who was previously from a black metal band called, what is that band? They're kind of underground. I know they're black metal. Borg Nagar, which they're kind of underground. Barely heard of them. Yeah, they're like a black metal band. His drumming is fucking phenomenal. It's a shame that this is the only album with him on it. And also, this is the first album to feature Tony Campos, who is from Static X, who performed bass duties on this album. And yeah, I have to say, I like the dark tone of it. I like the guest choices they made with tracks like World Scum, which features Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation. I know this song was originally going to have Adam Warren, who is from Oceano, on there, but I guess he wasn't able to record, so he got in Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation. And then he got in On the other track, Redemption of Man by God features Des Fafara from Coal Chamber and Double Driver on the track. Yeah, this album has a lot. It sounds more death metal than thrash or groove metal. Like, this is probably the most death metal record I've heard from Max. Like, the lyrical content, like I said, it's basically inspired like history themed movies, like Gladiator, Ben-Hur, Lawrence of Arabia. And I also like, even the bonus tracks are great too, like Bastard. I just love this haunting intro to it. This backstab is about backstabbing people who fucking stabs you in the back. The instrumentation is right off the chains here. So, yeah, guys, this is probably my favorite Soulfly record. I would easily defend this record. Fuck the mixed reviews. I'm gonna say this right off the bat. This is their best album, and yes, this album I am going for a 4.5 to 5. I thought this is fucking amazing. If y'all hate this record, listen to it again. This is an amazing record. Fuck the critics. They suck. They're retarded. So, yep. It's a really great album. And also, I forgot to mention the closing track, Revengeance. Feature. I like how he features his sons on vocals. With Richie, Igor, and Zion, who was on drums, who would later join Soulfly on their next record. Which is basically a tribute to, Max's stepson, Dana, who tragically died in a car crash as an infant, which pisses me off. But, yeah, I just love it when he did those types of tributes to it. But otherwise, amazing fucking record. Alright, next up we got is Savages. Released September 30th, 2013 off of Nuclear Blast Records. Now, as you may know, the first album not to be released under Roadrunner. Yeah, this is their first album to have Max's son, Zion, whatever his name is, to have him on drums. From what I'm reading, Max Cavalera came up with the title Savages because he said today's humans are still savages. I mean, well, this was released in 2013, so I guess they kind of are back then. This album kind of ended the band's run. It's a huge downfall from Enslaved, and I kind of say I'm disappointed in it. Now, is it bad? No. I know I said something that may not be the sound I like, especially with this tribal sound from Soulfly, but it's not like in a good way, I just really can't appreciate it with this album. Like, I don't like the era where they try to go with this groove elements. I know they're trying to sound dark with this album, but there's some tracks that still work, like Bloodshed. Like, I do like the doomy stuff. Cannibal Holocaust are good. But with this groovier tracks, like Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla and Master of Savagery, it's basically with these groovier sounds. Like, it just doesn't really click in with me. Al Camagante, it feels like it's like a sequel to Patella Plumo, which is, I kind of consider it as a sequel to Platinum Ploma from their last album, and I actually thought this was a solid listen. I like the vocal duos from Max and Tony Campos, and I'm not a fan of the guest appearances too, like Mitch Harris. I think he was from Righteous Pigs, who was from Napalm Death. I just feel like he doesn't fit that tone on the track like KSM, which is Kill, Cut, Scalp. But otherwise, guys, I'm just not quite a big fan of this album, so I'll go for a 2 out of 5. I'm just not a fan of this direction that Soulfly is going for, and most of their, this groovier tracks really drags on. Like, most of them doesn't really need to be, like, Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla. Why the fuck is this song 7.5 minutes? That song should have been, like, 4 minutes. Like, why 7.5? That's too long. But anyways, guys, kind of disappointed with it. But, You know what? I'm gonna reveal their worst album later. I'll just put it out. Alright, next up we got is Archangel, released August 14th, 2015, off of Nuclear Blast Records. And I would have to say, it's a lot more brutal. That's kind of it. I mean, it's a lot faster. It's definitely better than Savages. I think this is their shortest album at 36 minutes. It's got some black metal elements, some death metal elements. Like, I would pretty much say it's the most modern version. I would say it's the modern version of Morbid Visions. Like, I really fucking love the album cover. Like, I thought that looks fucking badass. Like, you know, the lyrical content's basically the biblical themes, meaning it has different vibe than any... Like, it has a different vibe than any of their previous albums. It says it's basically bloody and brutal and perfect for metal, and I kind of agree with that. It's a lot more exotic sound. The lyrical content is different. I mean, it's very unique. But it does have a few Doom stuff and a few tracks, and it kind of blends in with other elements as well. Like, it's like Archangel is basically influenced, you know, by other like black and death metal bands, you know, like Behemoth, Septic Flesh, Belphegor, yeah, those types of bands. This album is heavily influenced on. I mean, it's got like some blast beats, got some really. I also like the choices from the guest appearance, like the song like "Live Life Hard" had some really great shrieking vocals from Matt Young, who is from the grindcore band King Parrot. He definitely fits that tone. And yeah, I kind of considered it as like a sequel to Morbid Visions. But yeah, I thought this is a really great record, so I'm feeling a 4 to 5. I thought it's a really solid record. You know what? I kind of take back on what I said about Omens as their most underrated record. This is the most underrated record from Soulfly. Yeah. Easily their most underrated album. Alright, next up we got is Ritual, released October 19, 2018, off of Nuclear Blast Records. This album kind of brought back the tribal elements that's pretty much almost abandoned in the last few albums. Like, they pretty much brought it back, but not having new metal stuff into it. It may not, I mean, I wouldn't say it's as good as Archangel, but it has some really great moments here. Like, Ritual is a great track. I do like the guest appearance. Dead Behind the Eyes, which features Randy Bly from Lamb of God. Under Rapture features Ross Dolan from Immolation. And from what I'm reading, Ritual, it kind of has this tribal drumming. Like I said, it kind of brings back with this tribal elements, like what he did with Sepultura's Roots and early Soulfly albums. And what I'm reading on the track Dead Behind the Eyes is about Cenobites from the movie Hellraiser. Demon Eyes kind of has this black metalish sound to it. It kind of has like a really dark sound. And what I'm reading is like a tribute to the song Rain and Blood from Slayer. I kind of say this album, I would say, if Roots stayed consistent to their earlier albums, like I would say if Roots didn't move to nu metal, that's how I would pretty much describe about this album. I also like some tributes, like Feedback tributes to Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead, and the song Blow on the Street, which is basically about the murder of a woman, killing of a Navajo woman by a cop, and it's got some topic varieties throughout the lyrics. So I would say it's Soulfly being Soulfly. Really kick-ass moments throughout the album. Under Rapture is a really great song. I'll go for a 3.5 to 5. I thought it's a pretty good record. It's just Soulfly being Soulfly. That's kind of it. Okay, next up we got is Totem, released August 5th, 2022, off of Nuclear Blast Records, once again. And yeah, we are going to have a talk about this record. Yeah, this is another huge downfall. It happened twice. This is their first album without Mark Rizzo. I think him and Max had an altercation back in 2021. And it pretty much suffered with it. I think this album He hired Arthur Risk as the producer, which is a frontman from Power Trip. I mean, let's just get off the bat here. Yes, I get it. The lyrical content. They want to bring back the old school elements. Yada yada yada. Just like they did with the other recent Soulfly records. And yes, they work. Yeah, they're good. Max wants to go back to being consistent. And yeah, they may have they added more new metal elements like they did on the early Soulfly records. La fucking da. But come on, with this record, let's talk about the production. It's so fucking irritating to listen to. I just hate how... I would say this on the Soulfly's second single of the album. I can't stand the echoey production. Especially from Max. It's so fucking echoed throughout the entire album, and it just gets so irritating to listen to. And with Mark's exit from the band, they kind of lacked a lot with this record, like the riffs and stuff like that. It feels like kind of like what Max did with Sepultura. It's like he bring the sound of Sepultura with him. Now Mark Rizzo is bringing the Soulfly sound with him. I don't know. Well, not really. It just lacks something without the creativity of Rizzo. And yeah, there's not a lot of guest appearances. The only noticeable guest appearance is Josh Tardy from Obituary, which he may not be as bad on there. I mean, it's very echoey, which I'm not, again, I mean, well, his echoey kind of works, but not with Max. And why... Okay, the Spirit Animal, this song is 9.5 minutes, and yes, I get it, it's another Posse collab track from the Cavalera family. Still, I mean, yeah, you want to bring back the tribal stuff, which is unnecessary to this track, and songwriting isn't good. I understand they want to bring back this, bring back that, but it's not very influential by any means. So yeah, I don't really go to further detail. I would probably say this is their worst record. I mean, I don't know how what else to say to it. It's very disappointing. Especially after Mark Rizzo left. I guess it kind of suffered to it. Yeah, guys. 1.5 to 5. This is not a good record. Yeah, I would say it's their worst. Hopefully their next album would be better, which I kind of hope so it is, because I don't like the sound of their second single, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they can improve it a little bit. If it improved a little bit, I could hopefully see I can give it another chance in the future, but this album really suffered big time. It's definitely not on top of the totem pole. Alright guys, that is my reviewing for every Soulfly album. What are your thoughts on every Soulfly record? Let me know in the comments, and how would you rank them? Whether it's worst to best, or whether it's a score, whether it's a 5 or a 10. Whatever you want to do. So let me know. But yes guys, that is it. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content. Check those videos out where it's popping up on the screen. And I'll see you guys next time.